This is going to be a video on LeBron James, just looking over his whole career to see if he could have had any different opportunities to make more appearances in the finals, to get any more finals MVPs, and to get any more regular season MVPs as well. So we can see here that LeBron has 4 MVPs. His first one was in the 2009 season with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Then he got one in 2010 as well. 2012, and then 2013 was his last one when he was 28 years old. He also made it to the finals 10 times. His first time being in 2007, and then I believe it was his first year in Miami until his last year in Cleveland, so 2018, and then once for in 2020 when he was with the Lakers. So in 2007, I believe he signed his second contract. That was to add like an extension, so he would be like re-signed with the Cavaliers from 2008 to 2011. And here we see his first year where he is a true contender, which is he has at least 53 games, at least top 18 on offense, top 15 on defense, and then has is top 8 for net. So he had that in his 2 MVP years for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then after that, we see that the team drops off because he is now on the Miami Heat. So yeah, he re-signed or like did an extension with the Cavs in 2007 for the 2008 to 2011 season. And then obviously he had a sign and trade to go to the Miami Heat. The first year, they were true contenders. Third in offense, fifth in defense, and first in net, 58 wins. So this was a good time for him to obviously make more moves into his career, although he did not win MVP that season. He lost it to Derrick Rose. It was a close match. I think that he could have won it. 2012, shortened season. They do still meet the minimum standards for that as contenders. Same thing in 2013. This was probably their best year when they had Ray Allen. Debatable if they should have won in the finals or not against the Spurs because they made that lucky shot. And then again in 2014, they did fall off quite a bit there. I'm not sure if that was from injuries or what. Still true contenders, but they did end up losing to the San Antonio Spurs there. So at this point, LeBron did re-sign with the Heat in 2012 and signed a contract through 2017, I believe, but then ended up cutting it short because he had a player option, which cut him off at the 2015 season when he went back to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Was again a true contender on this team. Third in offense, 18th. Oh, no, he was not. Okay. Wow, I didn't think of that. So in 2016, the 1 year that they won, they were true contenders. Faced the Warriors. That was when the Warriors were 73-9. But then after that, I don't know what happened next year. They dropped down in the their defense fell off a little bit there, and they ended up losing. And then I think Kyrie did stay. No, he left in 2018. So, yeah, LeBron signed 15 to 16, cut his contract short, re-signed 16 to 17, and then cut that short and signed 17, 18, and 19 with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Just as like some insight there, yeah, Kyrie left. So at this point, I think that he probably should have left as well. But again, he stayed for another season. They were one of the worst defensive teams in the league. Still made the finals because LeBron was able to carry that point, but just didn't have enough help around him, unfortunately. So I think that 19 year was a player option, so he left after the 2 years of that contract, then signed a 4-year deal with the Lakers, 19, 20, 21, and 22. This year they were not contenders, but then once they got AD in 2020, they were. And obviously they were able to win enough games and ended up winning the championship because of that. in 2021, I believe that both LeBron and Anthony Davis suffered from injuries. So they ended up trading a lot of their depth and just picks to get Westbrook, which did not end up working for the team. I think that they would have been better off without making that trade and keeping what they had in the previous year. You can check to see just exactly how many games that they played here. Anthony Davis, it looks like he played just 36 games. So, yeah, around like half, almost half of what he did the previous year. And then going back to LeBron James, it looks like he played okay, 45. Yeah, so neither of them were there for much of the season at all, and probably could have played twice as much that they actually did that year. Still were able to win a decent amount of games. And then in 2022, I believe they got rid of Russell Westbrook, but still suffered a lot that year just because of injuries and other things. I have here LeBron did re-sign. His contract did end at 2 years early, signed from 2021 and 2022, cut it, and then he re-signed with the Lakers again in 2023 to 2024, and then finished that out, and then he did sign again in 2025 and 2026. So just looking at this year, yeah, they weren't really contenders, had a lot of trades. Same thing last year. Trade deadline, they picked it up a little bit, but after that, suffered. Now this year they have Luka Doncic. So a lot of change over the past couple years. Weren't really able to keep anything consistent, especially with the coaching going from Frank Vogel to Darvin Ham and now to JJ Redick. Yeah, Darvin Ham didn't really work out for them that well, so that might have been another reason that they could have won more games if they had a better coach. But now going back a little bit, we're just going to take a look at all the different teams that LeBron could have possibly gone to instead of making the choices that he actually did. So just going to skip to 2007 here. So this is the end of his first contract. Yeah, so he made the finals in 2007. Usually, like, it's kind of tough to leave your team after you just made the finals because you believe that they're going to be better next year and just growing overall as a team. But then it took the Cavaliers a little bit of time to actually get good until I think it was the 2009-2010 season, the seasons where LeBron won his MVPs. So now going to the 2007 season, if he would have left the Cavs after making the finals but losing just because he might have realized that there wasn't enough around him, that the organization wasn't doing enough. A few teams that I could see him possibly going to would be like the Chicago Bulls, the Miami Heat, maybe the Lakers, but I feel like, okay, yeah, this would be a good time because Kobe hasn't been too much of a contender yet, I don't think. Or maybe it was in 2007, the first year where he was starting to contend again after Shaq left. Maybe the Rockets as well. I could see that happening. So yeah, let me just open all these up. So starting off with the Miami Heat, we know that he was friends with Dwayne Wade, and I mean, the Heat made it to the finals and won in 2006. LeBron made it in 2007. So they're both kind of going like head to head. We know that the Heat fell off a little bit after that, and it would take LeBron a little bit more to make it to the finals. So we could see them like just joining teams together and hoping to contend like that. I'm trying to see if there was any injuries that year. Yeah, maybe a little bit. So hopefully LeBron joining would possibly make Dwayne Wade a little bit more healthy. I'm not sure exactly what he was injured for. The Bulls, there's not a whole lot to work with there. So I'm not 100% sure if he would be willing to leave his team. I mean, it is more than what the Cavs had. So maybe, they could win. I mean, they do drop off here, so I'm not sure if like LeBron joining would change that or not. But, maybe they could win like 50-something games, which would be more than the Cavs won that following year. I'm just trying to see. Okay, yeah, Ben Wallace is pretty much at the tail end of his career, so he's still a good defensive player, but probably not as much as he was on the Pistons. The Lakers, so yeah, the Lakers were not great the year before. LeBron was better, but then in 2008, they do jump up a lot. So I wonder if LeBron joining the team could possibly have them win like 65 games. Um, just his play style mix with Kobe, I'm not sure if he would want to do that or not. I know that they're probably friends, but they're competitors as well. Um, and then the Rockets, I could kind of see him join the Rockets just because it was like the Bulls and the Rockets were the two teams in the 90s as he was growing up. And so I could see him doing that, before like James Harden got there and everything. Um, Tracy McGrady would probably like help him play stylish, and then also just Yao Ming being like a LeBron center where it's like you just reduce your role scoring wise and focus on getting like boards and defense. Um, so I think that could probably work out. They did win 52 games, so maybe they could win, I don't know, 60 games the next year, maybe more, depending on how healthy the two, Yao Ming and Tracy McGrady would be. So those, I guess, three teams there would be the main one. I don't see him joining the Bulls too much. I don't know. You did have Luol Deng on that team, but other than that, the other three options might be a little bit better if he was going to leave. Now going to his next time that he probably would have left, which was in the 2011 season. And so we can see some of the contenders here that I could possibly see LeBron going to. So I had like the Orlando Magic. They made the finals, I believe, in 2010. It might have been 09. Yeah, right after the Boston Celtics. Okay. So they made it in 09, so maybe LeBron would go in like 2011 after maybe seeing they need help. The Miami Heat again, like he planned to originally with Chris Bosh and D Wade, possibly the Bulls as well. And then I did have the Lakers, although I'm not 100% sure, just because like Kobe was still contending at this point with his own team and didn't really need any help to switch that up until maybe like a season or two after this. So the Magic were pretty good this year. I do think that if LeBron was on the Magic, they would have beat the Hawks. Okay, then the Hawks probably would have beaten the Bulls because LeBron was on the team anyway. And then, so it's just taking LeBron pretty much to the finals like he was already doing. Maybe they could have beaten the Mavericks. I'm not 100% sure about that or not, but it's a possibility. If not, it just stays the same like in his career. The Chicago Bulls, this was like his main competitor at the time in the East. Just D-Rose being on that team. But I think adding LeBron to it would pretty much make it a super team. They were one of the best defenses. And then having like D-Rose and LeBron would be pretty tough to deal with. And as we can see, they were a great team, winning 62 games and almost making it to the finals. And then I think the last team is the Lakers, but as mentioned, I'm not sure if LeBron would go to that team, especially since they already won two championships, and I think they made it to a third. And they lost one. So now skipping to like the 2014 season teams, looking at where LeBron would be looking to go for the 2015 season. So I had it here that he could probably maybe now try to join forces with the Heat or another team, maybe go to the Bulls. But now D-Rose is injured, possibly, just because you switch up the timeline, you don't really know. Maybe he goes and joins the Clippers with his friend Chris Paul, or possibly joins the Warriors early just to go to LA and, before they go on like their huge like win streaks and become the Warriors that we know today. And then I did put the Rockets, but I might take that away just because I'm not sure how much of a fan or LeBron is of James Harden, and if he would want to be like a teammate with him, just because they're very like dominant players. So the Bulls did make it pretty far. They lost to LeBron, so then they still would have made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think that they probably would have beaten the Hawks too that year, and then made it back to the finals, of course, facing the Warriors. The Clippers were pretty good. I think Doc Rivers would be the main thing getting in the way here. I have no doubt that this team could have made the finals. They are basically there. Without LeBron and with LeBron, they probably would have been like a 62 to 60 something win team, 65 win team, maybe higher. And then the Warriors as well. If LeBron was on this team, they probably would have won 65 games plus like this. They already did anyway, probably until 2022, just because LeBron and Steph would have been that good together. So I think any of these options would be good options for LeBron, depending if he wanted to go back to Cleveland or not. Again, I don't really see the Rockets being a huge team that he would join now if he didn't join it back with Tracy McGrady and Yao Ming. So now we skip up to the 2017/2018 season. Just looking at where LeBron possibly would have gone if he didn't go to Cleveland or if he did and Kyrie left. Boston, he definitely wouldn't go to. Neither would he go to the Raptors. I think it would pretty much just be either the Bulls, the Heat, or the Clippers at this point that he would decide on going to. Just because, again, Chris Paul was on the Clippers, Dwayne Wade was on the Heat, and then the Bulls, just because it has that like connection to Michael Jordan, which LeBron was talked to about like earlier in his career. So those would be the three main options. So the Clippers still have Doc Rivers at this point, which again, I still think would hold them back a little bit, but they were always a contender through this time. 2018, they did fall off a little bit. I think that's because they traded Blake Griffin at that point. But if LeBron was going, I highly doubt that they would do that. Maybe would have traded for a slightly better defensive center who would be less on the payroll. But again, I think that they would be a 60-plus win team with LeBron. Chicago, not the greatest team. I think this is when they were starting to get Zach LaVine, and this team was good this year with Jimmy Butler, Rajon Rondo, D-Wade. But I think, next year is when they got Zach LaVine on the team. So it's a little bit different play style. I'm not sure how well LeBron would function with this. So maybe Bulls are kind of like a no-go. And then the Miami Heat, I think this was when D-Wade was going to go back to the team. And I think, they won like 44 games. So I think with LeBron, they could have won at least maybe 55 games. Again, still being a contender at that point, and just making that case for another MVP on his books. So if LeBron would have left in 2019 from Cleveland or wherever team, again, I still think that he could have possibly gone to the Heat. I could see the 76ers as well as an option. Other than that, I don't really see too many other ones. There's a lot of teams. I don't know. I feel like LeBron wouldn't be a huge Pacer or Knicks player. So this is when the 76ers were starting to build up and trying to make, that first finals appearance and just getting their young players to go. I truly don't think that they were contenders until 2021. But with LeBron joining that team, maybe trading Markelle Fultz and some other players, that would have been good for him because he could have taken over that point guard role for them, and then just put Ben at the 4, Embiid at the 5, and now looks like to the 2020 season. And then I think that the Clippers would have been good for him to join as well when they had Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Tobias Harris and just that young core, because I think that core still won around 47 or 48 games. So obviously with LeBron, you can add another 10 games on top of that. So he'd probably won 57, 58, maybe even 59 games with that core there. So if he was to leave in that team, stay through 2020 and then leave in 2021, I think that he probably would have gone to the Sixers again. I don't really see the Rockets or Clippers being an option for that. For 2022, I had the 76ers again, possibly the Knicks. I'm not 100% sure. And then Also, possibly the Miami Heat with Jimmy Butler. Um, I mean, the Sixers, they were close to making the finals. I mean, they still have Doc Rivers on the team. Um, maybe um, LeBron could do something with the Knicks, but I don't know. That was when I think they had just had Randall. And then the Heat made the finals and were putting up like contender-ish stats. Like some years, I mean, they were close, but with LeBron, I think that they might have been able to do that. The Clippers, I don't really see too much of that happening, so just close them out. For 2023, I had the Miami Heat, just because of like the same reason, like they're still close to contenders, just with Bam and Jimmy. Same thing with the Sixers as well. Um, Same thing, like story. If they would have just got rid of Doc Rivers, I think that they were pretty much right there, almost beat the Celtics anyway, and could have done it with LeBron. And then maybe also going back to the Cavaliers, because now I believe they had Donovan Mitchell at this point, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and Jarrett Allen. LeBron could possibly take like less money in a contract or whatever he would need to do, but um, having a Cavs team with that much depth on it and just good players overall, I think LeBron could definitely work with and possibly be like a 60 to 62 win team. Um, Going into 2024, I had the 76ers, the Cavs again, possibly the Heat, and then the Knicks. I think the Sixers are now a little bit better. They have Nick Nurse. Maxey is getting up there. So just like more to work with as well. Who knows if they would have kept Jimmy Butler or not if LeBron was there or could have re-signed him. I don't know. The Cavs, again, just getting better with those guys that I just mentioned. And then I believe the Knicks just signed Brunson this year, so he could have worked with that. And then possibly lured in some other players as well. I'm not sure. I think they signed OG Anunoby later, and then some other players as well. And then I think for Miami, they still had Jimmy at this point, before he was going on his like little thing against like drama spree. Still had Bam, so he probably could have worked with that, got them a few more wins to become contenders. Other than that, I'm not too sure. If I had to make a few picks myself on what exactly I think LeBron should have done, I would say possibly leave the Cavs just in like 2008. Like 2008, go join another team, see how that goes, see if he can contend on a team then, because he did win 2 MVPs within his time as a Cavalier there. After that, if he wins, I would say hopefully the Cavs could have gotten some different draft picks. I know that they ended up getting, I think, 2 or 3 close to number 1 picks. Like after LeBron left, so like the 2012, 13, 14. So maybe they could have gotten some other good players that were, from like 2008 to 2011. Maybe like Steph Curry, Paul George, Kawhi, whatever, that could have helped LeBron. And then also possibly getting some other players like that. So yeah, leave the Cavs 07, maybe come back in 2012 after he wins a little bit, and then after that, just kind of decide where things would go from there. Whether you want to work with like Dwayne Wade and some other your friends like Chris Paul, going to the Clippers in like 2015, that's definitely an option. And then if you do eventually want to go to wherever, it would just depend on exactly how the career is going at that point. But as long as he's fully contending, I mean, LeBron is always and playing as an MVP. So I think as long as he was putting up those numbers for his team, he could have won maybe 6, depending on voter fatigue. Definitely could have won more finals as well, because he was only a contender like 1 year on the second time he joined the Cavs, 1 year on the Lakers. So that's just 4 years that you're missing. 4 years plus 4 years, plus the year that he was on the Cavs in the beginning of his career. So basically 10 years of his career in his prime that he's losing, just from not being on like good enough teams. But that's all, and I will see y'all in the next one.